Every day, we stand at the crossroads of countless decisions. From the moment we wake up to the time we lay our heads to rest, our lives are a series of choices, both big and small. Some decisions can change the course of our lives, while others might seem insignificant but still shape our character and destiny. In every one of these moments, there lies an opportunity to seek God's wisdom, to lean into His guidance, and to trust that He is with us every step of the way. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast forest, the path ahead unclear and winding into the unknown. The trees stretch high above, their leaves whispering secrets of ancient times. The air is thick with the scent of pine and earth, and the sound of a distant river beckons you forward. In moments like these, when the path is uncertain, who do you turn to for guidance? Just as a traveler would seek a map or a guide, we too can seek God's wisdom to navigate the complexities of life. One of the most profound examples of seeking God's wisdom is found in the story of King Solomon. As the young king sat before God, he wasn't asking for wealth or long life, but for something far more valuable: wisdom. In 1 Kings 3 verse 9, Solomon prayed, "So give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong." God was pleased with Solomon's request and granted him unparalleled wisdom, making him one of the most renowned leaders in history. This story isn't just a historical account, it's a blueprint for us today. When faced with decisions, whether they're about our careers, relationships, or personal growth, we can ask God for wisdom just as Solomon did. James 1 verse 5 encourages us, "If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you." God desires to guide us, to help us make choices that align with His will and lead us toward a fulfilling life. Consider the modern-day application of Solomon's story. Imagine a young professional at a career crossroads, unsure whether to accept a promotion that demands more time and energy or to seek a better work-life balance. By seeking God's wisdom through prayer and reflection, this individual can discern not just the immediate benefits of the promotion, but also its long-term impact on their well-being and relationships. God's wisdom helps us see beyond the surface, to understand the deeper implications of our choices. Another powerful example of seeking God's wisdom is found in the life of Daniel. Daniel was faced with a critical decision when he chose to remain faithful to his beliefs, even when it meant facing persecution and a potential death sentence. In Daniel 6, we see Daniel praying regularly, despite the king's decree that no one could pray to any god or man except the king for 30 days. Daniel's unwavering commitment to God, even in the face of extreme adversity, was a testament to his deep trust in God's plan and wisdom. Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6 reinforces this idea. "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." Trusting God doesn't mean that life will always be easy or that we won't face challenges. Instead, it means that we have a steadfast foundation, knowing that God is guiding us, even when the path is difficult or unclear. In today's world, we often face situations that test our integrity and values. Whether it's standing up for what's right in the workplace, making ethical decisions in business, or simply maintaining our personal integrity, seeking God's wisdom gives us the strength and clarity to do what is right, even when it's hard. Daniel's story encourages us to remain faithful and trust that God will honor our commitment and guide us through any trials we may face. The story of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane offers another profound lesson on seeking God's wisdom. In Luke 22 verse 42, Jesus prays, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." Here, we see Jesus grappling with an incredibly difficult decision, the path leading to his crucifixion. Yet, even in this moment of immense pressure and fear, Jesus seeks God's will above his own desires. Psalm 32 verse 8 echoes this sentiment. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. God's promise to guide us is a source of immense comfort and assurance. When we face decisions that weigh heavily on our hearts, like Jesus did, we can turn to God in prayer, seeking his guidance and trusting that his will is ultimately for our good. Modern-day applications of this story are plentiful. Think of someone facing a major life change, such as a move to a new city, a career shift, or a decision about marriage. These moments can be filled with anxiety and uncertainty. By seeking God's wisdom through prayer and meditation, we can find peace and clarity, knowing that we are aligning our will with his and trusting that he has a plan for our lives. Beyond these biblical stories, Scripture is filled with passages that encourage us to seek God's wisdom in every decision. Proverbs 2 verse 6 reminds us, "For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding." James 3 verse 17 describes godly wisdom as pure, peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere. These verses not only encourage us to seek wisdom, but also describe the nature of the wisdom that God provides. In addition to biblical wisdom, modern-day testimonies further illustrate the power of seeking God's guidance. Take, for example, the story of Sarah, a young woman who felt called to leave a stable job to pursue ministry. Faced with doubt and uncertainty, Sarah turned to prayer and sought counsel from her church community. Through this process, she discovered a deeper sense of purpose and direction, ultimately finding fulfillment in her new path. Stories like Sarah's remind us that seeking God's wisdom can lead to profound personal transformation and a life lived in alignment with his purpose. Another testimony is that of John, who struggled with financial decisions that led him into debt. Instead of relying solely on his own understanding, John sought God's wisdom through daily prayer and scripture study. He learned to trust in God's provision and made decisions that honored him, eventually leading to financial stability and peace of mind. John's experience underscores the importance of seeking God's wisdom not just in spiritual matters, but in all areas of our lives. So, how can we actively seek God's wisdom in our daily decisions? Here are some practical steps to help deepen your relationship with God and become more attuned to his presence. 1. Prayer. Begin by making prayer a central part of your decision-making process. Take time each day to communicate with God, sharing your thoughts, concerns, and desires. Ask him for clarity and guidance, and be open to his leading. 2. Bible study. Dive into the scriptures to gain insight and understanding. The Bible is a treasure trove of wisdom, filled with stories, teachings, and principles that can illuminate our path. Regular study helps us recognize God's voice and his intentions for our lives. 3. Seek godly counsel. Surround yourself with people who share your faith and values. Trusted mentors, pastors, or fellow believers can provide valuable perspectives and advice, helping you discern God's will in your decisions. 4. Meditation and reflection. Spend quiet time reflecting on your choices and the guidance you feel from God. Meditation allows you to listen deeply and attune your heart to his presence, making it easier to recognize his wisdom. 5. Obey and act. As you seek God's wisdom, be ready to act on what you learn. Trusting God involves stepping out in faith, even when the path isn't entirely clear. Obedience is a tangible expression of your trust in his guidance. As you incorporate these practices into your life, you'll find that seeking God's wisdom becomes a natural and integral part of how you navigate each day. It's not about having all the answers, but about trusting that God is with you, guiding you, and providing the wisdom you need. In the hustle and bustle of modern life, it's easy to become overwhelmed by the sheer number of decisions we face. From trivial choices like what to eat for breakfast to life-altering decisions about our future, the pressure can be immense. However, when we anchor our decision-making process in seeking God's wisdom, we find a source of strength and clarity that transcends our understanding. Imagine the peace that comes from knowing that, no matter what decision you face, you are not alone. God's wisdom is available to you, ready to guide you through every twist and turn of your journey. This assurance can transform the way you approach life, replacing anxiety and doubt with confidence and trust. Consider the story of Nehemiah, who sought God's wisdom to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. Faced with opposition and immense challenges, Nehemiah turned to prayer, asking God for favor and guidance. Through his faith and reliance on God's wisdom, he successfully led the people in rebuilding the walls, overcoming obstacles that seemed insurmountable. Nehemiah's story is a powerful reminder that with God's wisdom, we can accomplish great things, even in the face of adversity. In our own lives, we may not be rebuilding ancient walls, but we do face challenges that require God's guidance. Whether it's overcoming personal struggles, mending broken relationships, or pursuing a dream that seems out of reach, seeking God's wisdom empowers us to tackle these challenges with courage and determination. Moreover, seeking God's wisdom is not just about making the right decisions. It's also about growing in our relationship with Him. As we seek His guidance, we learn to trust Him more deeply, to rely on His understanding rather than our own, and to develop a closer, more intimate relationship with our Creator. Think about the story of Moses, who led the Israelites out of Egypt. Moses faced countless decisions, from negotiating with Pharaoh to guiding the people through the wilderness. Throughout his journey, Moses sought God's wisdom, often pausing to pray and seek direction. In Exodus 33 verse 13, Moses asks, "If you are pleased with me, teach me your ways so I may know you and continue to find favor with you." Moses' desire to know God more intimately fueled his leadership and his ability to guide the people. In the same way, when we seek God's wisdom, we not only make better decisions but also grow closer to Him. This deepening relationship strengthens our faith and equips us to handle whatever life throws our way. As Proverbs 4 verse 7 says, "The beginning of wisdom is this, get wisdom. Though it cost all you have, get understanding." Pursuing God's wisdom is an investment in our spiritual growth and our relationship with Him. In our journey to seek God's wisdom, it's also important to remember that His ways are higher than ours. Isaiah 55 verses 8 to 9 tells us, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways and my thoughts than your thoughts." This perspective helps us to trust that God's wisdom is perfect, even when it doesn't align with our own understanding or desires. There may be times when the path God leads us down doesn't make immediate sense. Maybe He asks us to take a detour or to delay a decision we thought we were ready to make. In these moments, it's crucial to remain patient and steadfast, trusting that God's timing and plans are ultimately for our good. Romans 8 verse 28 reassures us, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Let's reflect on the life of Joseph, who faced numerous trials and setbacks, including being sold into slavery and wrongfully imprisoned. Despite these hardships, Joseph consistently sought God's wisdom and remained faithful. In the end, his perseverance and trust in God led him to a position of great authority, where he was able to save many lives during a time of famine. Joseph's story is a powerful testament to the fact that seeking God's wisdom, even in the darkest times, can lead to incredible outcomes that we might never have imagined. Modern testimonies continue to echo these biblical truths. Take Maria, for example, who was faced with a difficult decision about whether to continue her education or enter the workforce to support her family. By seeking God's wisdom through prayer and consultation with her faith community, Maria was able to find a balance that allowed her to pursue further education while also contributing to her family's needs. Her story illustrates how seeking God's wisdom can help us find practical solutions that honor Him and meet our needs. Another inspiring story is that of David, who felt called to start a non-profit organization to help underserved communities. Initially, David was overwhelmed by the logistics and the potential challenges he might face. However, by seeking God's wisdom through regular prayer, seeking counsel from experienced mentors, and immersing himself in Scripture, David was able to launch a successful organization that has made a significant impact on countless lives. David's journey highlights the importance of relying on God's wisdom to navigate complex and ambitious endeavors. As we strive to seek God's wisdom, it's essential to cultivate habits that keep us connected to Him. Consistent prayer, regular Bible study, and active participation in a faith community are foundational practices that nurture our relationship with God. These practices not only provide us with guidance and insight, but also create a space for us to hear God's voice more clearly. Incorporating moments of stillness and silence into our daily routine can also help us become more attuned to God's presence. In our fast-paced world, taking time to pause, breathe, and listen can be transformative. It allows us to quiet our minds and open our hearts to the subtle whispers of God's guidance. Furthermore, practicing gratitude can enhance our ability to seek and recognize God's wisdom. When we acknowledge and give thanks for the blessings in our lives, we cultivate a heart that is more receptive to God's leading. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to the abundance we already have, creating a mindset of trust and reliance on God's provision. Another practical step is to set aside dedicated time for decision-making. When faced with a significant choice, take intentional steps to seek God's wisdom rather than making impulsive decisions. Create a quiet space where you can pray, reflect, and seek guidance, allowing God the time and space to speak into your situation. In moments of uncertainty, it can also be helpful to write down your thoughts, prayers, and the decisions you're facing. Journaling can provide clarity and insight, helping you to see patterns or guidance that might not be immediately apparent. It also serves as a record of God's faithfulness and guidance in your life, encouraging you to trust Him more deeply. As you seek God's wisdom, remember that it's a journey, not a destination. There will be times when His guidance is clear and others when it feels elusive. Trust that God is patient and steadfast, always working behind the scenes for your good. Hebrews 6 verse 19 reminds us, "We have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure." This hope anchors us in the assurance that God's wisdom is always available, guiding us through every decision and every season of life. In addition to personal practices, engaging in community worship and fellowship can amplify our ability to seek God's wisdom. Sharing your struggles and decisions with others can provide fresh perspectives and collective wisdom that enriches your understanding. Community support reinforces the idea that you are not alone in your journey, and together, you can navigate the complexities of life with God's guidance at the center. It's also important to embrace the process of learning and growth that comes with seeking God's wisdom. Not every decision will lead to immediate clarity or success. but each choice is an opportunity to grow in faith and understanding. Embrace the lessons learned along the way, knowing that each step brings you closer to the person God intends you to be. As we reflect on these biblical stories and modern testimonies, it's evident that seeking God's wisdom transforms our decision-making process. It shifts our focus from self-reliance to divine guidance, from fear to trust, and from uncertainty to assurance. This transformation is not just about making better choices. It's about becoming more aligned with God's will and purpose for our lives. Imagine living each day with the confidence that comes from knowing you are guided by divine wisdom. Picture the peace that surpasses all understanding, the courage to face challenges, and the joy that springs from living in harmony with God's plan. This is the promise of seeking God's wisdom in every decision. In closing, remember that God is always listening. He is attuned to your needs, your fears, and your hopes. Whether you're standing at a literal or metaphorical crossroads, God is there, ready to offer His wisdom and guidance. He invites you to lean into His presence, to seek His will, and to trust that He has a perfect plan for your life. As you navigate the journey of life, let God's wisdom be your compass. In every decision, big or small, seek His guidance and trust in His unfailing love. Know that you are never alone, and that God's wisdom is a constant source of strength and direction. Embrace the assurance that God is always listening, ready to lead you toward a future filled with hope, purpose, and His abiding peace. So, take a deep breath, open your heart, and step forward with faith, knowing that God's wisdom is with you every step of the way. Let His guidance illuminate your path, and may you find comfort and inspiration in the knowledge that you are deeply loved and meticulously guided by the One who holds all wisdom and understanding.